Hello everyone and welcome back to the Brightworks and another match of Beyond All Reason. Today we're going to be taking a look at a high-level match that was played on a map that I have not featured here very often. Tropical Assault version 3.0. Definitely didn't forget the name of that one here. Pro Randy going to be our blue team leader here, spawning on the southern side of this strange little map here. So we'll get into the layout here, but why don't we meet our red team leader just as well, spawning over here on the northern side, coming in right next to his blue opponent as far as true skill goes, and goes by the name of Mighty Sheep, going to be leading his team here as a Cortex Commander, spawning right up on the front lines of the northern side of this beautiful ocean map. So, pretty interesting. We've got this big open water section right here in the middle. So Navy units are going to terrorize any units that are walking through the center of the map right there. Going to be extremely brutal to move your troops through, and then get barraged by frigates and destroyers and all that good stuff. Navies are going to be quite powerful here as DEA for the blue team, as well as Sun, Blop Sun, going to be both commanding the naval presence here for the blue team, going up against Alberto as well as Narnuk here in the seas for the red. Lost Dead Man going to be representing the red team in the backline here, right next to Pyrotech, who's going for a little bit of air already, handed out a transport to Ural there up on the front lines, going up against Pro Shaman as well as Pro Randy. Should be a pretty good matchup. We do have a lot of rocks here in the middle as well. That's probably going to be a good amount of reclaim there. Yeah, about 500 metal worth of reclaim sitting right there in the middle island of the match here. Definitely going to be viable to put some artillery pieces on the coast right here. Certainly up on this hillside if we get a T2 artillery piece up here, but maybe even a gauntlet or an agitator on the hills, or on the beaches rather, over on this side, maybe on the little islands over here as well. Might be very well worth it. Yeah, getting some of that static defense up might actually prove to be valuable enough that I can appreciate it here. Oftentimes that's not the case, and I'd be pretty surprised if that's what the pros went for here, but you never know what you're gonna find in one of these matches. Now there we go, Ural sending the commander across here. We do have a little bit of aggression. We do have some pawns here, sorry, grunts that were sent over by Better Strategy, going to be heading into the base, I think. Yeah, Rompy looks like he's about to deflect all that, so I'm going to cut on over to Ural here, who's already claiming this center island. Trying to get some static defenses up, getting ready to, yeah, push forward a little bit here. This is definitely aggressive to expand this far forward, but using that transport means that that commander can get up there a whole lot quicker than anybody else can. So, barring a transport on the other side for the blue team, which there are, by the way, this will be a nice little catch right here for Ural. Off meta, moving pretty far forward with the transport as well. Gotta be so careful. Those transports are extremely susceptible. Oh, Narnuk moving over in this direction as well. Uh-oh. This is a bit bizarre. So Narnuk is transporting his commander. He's doing a little bit of a, I don't know, a little bit of transporter run by, I suppose. Off meta is moving towards Mighty Sheep's base, who starts up a construction turret. Oh no, I think, oh, the D-gun, beautiful D-gun right there. Mighty Sheep D-guns the commander out of the air. Beautifully done. Love to see that right there. Yeah, you can see the confusion right there as off meta has sacrificed the commander to one of the most powerful commanders currently in the game. That is going to be a tricky situation to come back from. Meanwhile, Narnuk has set the commander down over here on this side, deployed it onto enemy lines over here. That frigate not going to stand up against the commander's blue laser beam of death that comes out underwater. Uh-oh, this is already looking terrible for the blue team, who has lost a commander, and I fear they're going to lose a huge part of their position here as well. Things are activating at a rapid pace right now. Looks like the red team has solid control over the center now. Ural done a great job of putting those LLTs down, Resbots sucking up all that metal and sending it back to their team as well, and metal and energy. Those palm trees are worth a lot of energy as well. Important to remember, Blobsun has a nice little push over here on the left-hand side. Spawned pretty far forward here and then expanded backwards, meaning that production is going to hit the field a whole hell of a lot quicker than the pink player Alberto is ready for. The submarine could certainly cause quite a lot of havoc here. Boom, those torpedoes do hit with a heavy impact, 15% off of that poor frigate's health pool right there. That frigate microing its heart out. Rompy moving forward to grab the metal extractor right here. Love to see it. And yeah, these LLTs are doing a great job, but I love to see the coastal torpedo launcher as well. These things are so dangerous to any units that step out into the water here. My goodness, 30% HP to any of these units. They're calibrated to be good defenses against the Navy, right? So that means that they do a tremendous amount of damage because, well, all the naval units do a huge amount, or they have a huge amount of HP, but that also means that they do a crazy amount of damage against any of those bots that are moving through the water right here. So I really do appreciate that. Looks like Better Strategy is coming up with a couple of them as well here, just trying to build them with the commander, so they're not coming up super duper quickly, but at the very least this one is out, so that'll be able to thwart some of the push right here. Yeah, torpedo launcher, offshore torpedo launcher here, going to be quite good as well for anything that steps out into the water, but of course that's not going to be every unit stepping its toes into the water. Certainly these aggravators not going to be so keen to step out into the water here. Blobsun does have a torpedo launcher up and available, by the way. Bombing run comes across the map right here, ready to connect with some of this. I think that bombing run's going to connect huge. Yeah, that's very, very nice. Oh, well, okay, never mind. Some reason or another, that bomber decided not to release its payload right there. Otherwise, it would have been a huge connection. Randy has transported the commander over to this side, is going to move in for the kill over here on the base. Oh, I guess not. Going to revert back and go into the other side. Narnok's still pressing on this right-hand side. Very uncomfortable here for the cyan blue commander to deal with. A couple of pawns have ran by. Shuriken cleaning all this up quite nicely. Medium tank also dealing with a lot of those pawns. Commander is transported back right here, but there's a huge leak pushing through at this point. Tons and tons of grunts sent through by Mighty Sheep. This is going to be difficult to break through. Looks like we did have a commander sacrifice over here. Oh, actually a commander snipe over here. Blobson takes down the commander for the hot pink player. El Barto's commander right here does not lose their own. That's a huge, huge play right there. Very, very nicely done. Israel going into a naval lab of their own. Actually, I quite like it. Yeah, I actually really, really like this naval lab here. Because of the fact that these naval units are going to be able to actually engage against so many of these well, non-naval units that are just out in the middle of the water, this naval lab actually makes a really, really huge amount of sense right here from the green player, pardon me. Yeah, I like that quite a lot. Randy has D-gunned down the base over here, by the way. This, yeah, the scars of D-guns echoing across the battlefield. Randy has completely devastated the base here for Link 74. Commander, well, the only thing left standing here. We do have a couple of res bots as well, but for the time being, this is going to be really uncomfortable to try and clean up right here. That coupled with the advantage from Blobson, I would say the blue team has definitely carved themselves back into this game. What an action-packed mess. T2 lab coming up right now for Mighty Sheep, who has built quite a few units and sent them out to the battlefield here. Looks like a couple of those frigates went down as well. The aggravators, or the rocketeer, no, sorry. Yeah, aggravators. Going to be more than enough to deal with all the rest of that, I suppose. The torpedo launcher probably putting in a good amount of work. Ooh, those Janus missiles. So dangerous, those Janus missiles. They can fire while they're in the water as well. Some units can't, but the Janus certainly can. It can launch those high-arcing heat-seeking missiles, those twin heat-seeking missiles, and do quite a lot of work here. Submarine trying desperately. Narnok trying to keep that submarine alive. Uh-oh, submarine goes down, and that means the commander is desperately exposed. Oh, if this submarine could snipe that commander, that'd be huge. That could definitely equalize the damage that's been done over here on this right-hand side. Narnok with a very greedy forward push right here. If the commander goes down, that definitely makes this a whole lot worse. Yeah, retreating to that torpedo launcher, definitely the right move here. Oh, it's so close. So, so close. He only needs to land 2 shots with that torpedo over there. Or the submarine, pardon me. These coastal torpedo launchers, man, they do some good work, though. Wow, when's the last time you've seen those being used efficiently? I feel like we never get to see the coastal torpedo launchers being used in hardly any efficient trade right there. Usually they're used against naval units, and so they just cannot get it done, but seems like they've definitely done a good job here. Eventually, Randy goes down, by the way. I don't think we expected anything other than that outcome, but certainly did a huge amount of damage. So Pyrotech is now the one rebuilding the base right here for Link 74, who got otherwise obliterated by the force from the blue commander, who didn't really need the commander, which is actually a great play. Going into air, you don't really need the commander unless you're planning on teching upwards over here. Nice snipe over on this side. By the way, we do end up seeing that commander fall. Commander's falling left, right, and center, down to 4 versus 5 right here in the favor of the red team. Sorry, in the favor of the blue team. Blue team with 5 commanders, red team with just 4. Shell Shockers now firing away at whatever they can over here, and whatever they can going to be this Anemone firing away those coastal torpedo launchers, or torpedo missiles. They're not really a missile, though, are they? They're more of a depth charge. Yeah, they fire a heat-seeking depth charge. Not that, you know, the missile owner, the depth charge owner is going to be complaining here. You're all certainly thrilled with how much power these things can pack and do against these enemy units. My goodness, they just melt away those units. This might be the most efficient use of the Anemone that I've ever seen. I'm going to put that right there. That's the screenshot. Anywho, we do have a T2 handed out over here. That's always lovely to see. Got to propagate those T2 whatever we can. Looks like a couple of gunboat have actually snuck around over here. They're going to become unparalyzed any moment now, meaning that they're more than happy to blast away at some of the economy over there. The Shuriken may be pulled away a little preemptively. Resbots have gladly gobbled up all that metal that was lying in the ruin over there. Submarines going to be firing away at this destroyer. Destroyer is ideal against these submarines, but man, you just don't have enough mass here, I don't think, for Blobson. Yeah, those submarines do manage to eventually bring down a destroyer. That's an expensive trade right there. Torpedo launchers keeping the keeping the green commander safe over here, but certainly, yeah, going to be a little bit uncomfortable at the very least. Yeah, with those torpedoes firing, only takes 10 of them to bring them down. And this commander, in fact, it will only take 6. Whoa, make that 4. 5. I know the math doesn't quite add up. They do 10% per damage, but the commanders heal a little bit as well, so you need, you know, a little bit more than you might expect. Yeah, torpedo launcher's going to obliterate those submarines, though. Got to be so careful. This is such a fortified position that there's no way that the pink commander is going to be able to break through this without going into some more efficient units here. We've got so many of these missile ships as well. Yeah, no way that the shuriken are going to be able to be pulled against that either. Just going to mean that the pink player's only option right now is to basically go for a greedy build. Just go for as much eco as possible and then hope that you can build enough units in time. Maybe hope that your teammates can help you out too. We do have a T2 engineer building some ships in the back over here, actually. That's quite cheeky. Yeah, we're building destroyers. Why not? That's an unutilized feature, I feel like. We don't often see that feature being used all too often. Very nice. Looks like all these defenses have actually been resurrected here. I actually love that. I think it's a great move from better strategy. Showcasing some better strategies indeed. Resurrect some of those anemones, which are going to be really difficult. Actually, these are jellyfish. Either way, they're going to be difficult to push through right here. At the very least, going to slow down this army. Now that those Sheldon are out, they're going to be able to blast away at those static defenses, essentially without a problem, but in the time being. They are a little wonky when they're firing over land like this, but it seems like they're not having too much trouble connecting with their designated target, more or less. a little bit odd there. Torpedo launchers, offshore or coastal torpedo launchers, definitely a bit of a weird one. Multiple calls have come out at this point that there's not really any way for the pink commander to hold this. The destroyers are out, and they certainly could do some work here. They have multiple ways of combating this army, both with this navy rather, with the depth charge launchers as well as the long-range plasma cannons. I think we should probably hand these destroyers off to the pink commander so that it's just one person microing all this. Probably going to be pretty efficient here. We're going into a naval lab, but I actually think building just those destroyers from the constructor, the combat engineer, is probably well worth it. I actually really like that play. Destroyer over here does a good job. Middle of the map. Suffers a barrage of grunts. Moving forward means that it opens up the possibility for other units to fire away. For instance, the Persecutor, which has been built over on this island, which is now just dumb firing towards this side of the island and trying to take out whatever it can. Loads of shell shockers raining artillery down. Not really ideal for dealing with this assault force, and just like that, a whole bunch of grunts do push on through here, meaning that all these shell shockers, missile trucks, and everything else on this center island are forfeit. Whole bunch of T1 and T2 pushing together, doing an excellent job of trading out. Really, really nice trade right there. Absolutely love that play by Rompy. Pulling the trigger at exactly the right moment, and this is a lot of, well, a whole bunch of different stuff headed over, but mostly grunts headed towards these bases. They're trying to avoid that T2, and I think it's a great idea here. Even Shuriken going to be a little bit in danger. Pyrotech also in danger here. Maybe we could see some killer D-guns. Looks like the blue team is getting ready to tech up, though. We're looking at a full-blown T2 transition all the way through the ranks. Nice D-guns right there. The LLT's putting in some work. Flamethrower turret doing a good job as well. Hey, you know what? I would say that was pretty solidly held. Pyrotech just barely going to be able to hold on. Oh, the friendly fire almost killed that commander right there, but he does hold on. 7% HP. Oh, some bombers coming in. My goodness. Oh, can we kill the commander with bombers? Oh, that'd be huge. Oh, 1% left on that commander. 60 HP left on that tan commander. My goodness, those bombers could absolutely snipe the commander right there. That would be humongous. Yeah. Oh, huge bombing run coming in over here, too. We do see the T2 lab being targeted down. Oh, they want that commander so badly. They want him so badly. Yeah, they're going to get him. Down goes the commander right there. That's so annoying. You don't want to lose your commander to bombers. That just feels atrocious. T1 fighter is going to re-engage with a whole bunch of fighters right here from the tan player Pyrotech. Love that bombing run, though. Coming across a whole bunch of wind turbines, a whole bunch of bases, too, shutting down the production. There goes an air lab. There goes a T2 vehicle lab. Yeah, we're just bombing to smithereens the enemy base over here. Really, really nice stuff by both teams, using those air rather than just keeping them in a big air wall. Love, love, love to see that. So many submarines at this point. This really does feel like a T1 battle to the mightiest end. Wouldn't wonder if maybe just eating up to both of these labs and pooling resources and going for a T2 lab might be the move here. Looks like Lost Dead Man says, one more fusion, I think I go T2C. I think that's a great idea. Getting those T2C out can really change the pace of a T1 naval battle. Surprising nobody. T2 Navy better than T1 Navy. Shocking news. In recent events, we do see a whole bunch of these units pushing more so into these coastal torpedo launchers. Man, those things have never looked stronger than this match. My goodness. They will eventually go down, but man, they took down about, I want to say almost a third of that army fairly efficiently. Enough Sheldons have been balled up here, though, for JTL, who's now going to have a defensive force to deal with all this T1 pushing forward. Commander in a little bit of a tricky spot here. Yeah, that commander is going to have to juke, jive, dash, duck, and dive. Messed that one up a little bit, but that's okay. Either way, you get the idea. That commander's in a whole lot of trouble. Cloaks for self-defense here, 17% HP, trying desperately to avoid any more fire over here. Bombers coming in, used defensively. Love to see it. Massive naval clash over here, though. Res submarines are caught, and that's huge. Shutting down those res submarines mean none of this metal will go back to the red team over here, and it is a tremendous amount of metal. I mean, if you look at this, it's only 7 ships, 4, 5, 6, 7. Still almost 4,000, 5,000 metal. Huge metal investment for a relatively low number of units. Those submarines are carving apart these destroyers, though. I really feel like we should have gone for some static defense here. Maybe just a whole bunch of torpedo launchers would have been quite nice. Certainly against these submarine compositions. Not going to be so effective against the destroyers, which are already out here, but would have absolutely shut down these submarines. You know what? The destroyers are putting in good work. If the destroyers can target fire as well, if they can take down one submarine at a time, it really cuts down the effectiveness here. But there's just so much mass available for the cyan green commander. The neon green commander, I should say. More bombers coming in, constantly trying to take out some wind turbines, some build power, whatever they can snipe in the backline right there. Really nice little air raid. Goes through and connects with some of the economy from Lost Dead Man. Not really going to care too much about those wind turbines now that the fusions are up, but still pretty annoying. Never feels good to take a bomber directly to the face. Loads of oh no, sorry, these are ducks actually. These are much superior amphibious creatures. They can waddle under the water and they fire a super heavy, well not super heavy, they fire a medium density torpedo. Connects with these boats, and yeah, they don't keep floating for too much longer. They're definitely not feeling so well after those ducks make waterfall. Commander explosion over here. Looks like a bunch of that T1 Navy going to help out some of these units. I'm actually surprised we haven't seen more of this here. I really feel like moving navies into this choke point and using navies a lot more than the T1 bots right here would have been really valuable, especially for some of these frontline commanders. I mean, you can imagine them setting up a sort of extraneous naval lab over here and starting to pump out LSAW and battleships and all that sort of stuff. I guess it's a very heavy expense, though, so it would take a lot up front in order to transition into that. I wonder if the efficiency would be well worth it. The ducks have appeared, ready to blast away this fusion reactor. Down it goes. Those ducks also trading very efficiently against it, not losing too many of their numbers. Excellent micro right there by Mighty Sheep, as if we expected anything else. Is Ariad in position. D-guns down a couple of those ducks, but they are going to move away immediately. Nicely done by the Green Commander. Yeah, there's basically nothing in position right now to deal with all these. Gunslinger retreats back to try and clean all this up. There's nowhere near enough firepower right here for the Powder Blue Commander, and indeed those ducks will blast apart that Gunslinger. As sturdy as it is, as regenerative as its biosteels may be, just not going to have enough to stand up to the heavy laser fire coming out of those ducks' schnozzle cannons. Adorable little critters, those ducks they are. Not the most powerful thing in the world, but certainly can be used in the right place and at the right time to devastating effect, as we can see here. Tearing apart basically the entire army right here of 2 different commanders. Blasting away at those Mauser relieves so much pressure as well from this side of the map. Really, really nicely done. We do have a bunch of those Arbiters out here. Very powerful heavy rocket bot. Capable of some serious damage. Looks like that reclaim field did end up actually eventually going back to the red team here. I really wasn't expecting that. I thought for sure Blomson would have been able to have it, but I guess the res subs were preoccupied or maybe didn't exist at all. Either way, that now means that so much of that metal has gone back over here, and yeah, this is going to suddenly look like a decent engagement for the red team. You know, I say that. A lot of those destroyers were low health going into this fight, and those missile ships, man, they don't hit for a whole lot, but when there's 40 of them and they're all firing constantly, you can see just how quickly those units whittle away right there. Submarines don't have a counter right now, though. There's also a commander right in the middle of this composition. Oh no, commander gets sniped and it's all over. Commander, basically the only anti-submarine left here. Yeah, Blomson definitely needs to improve production. I think this constructor should definitely be told to build a whole bunch of tidal generators. We're at 20 tidal speed, which definitely makes for a compelling argument for some of that tidal power. Another snipe over here. 2 commanders going down to T2 assault units, rather, right up on the front lines. Better strategies commander goes down to a couple of those fiends. Absolutely brutal. We do have an advanced exploiter over here, the heavy armed metal extractor. Very powerful unit, or defensive structure, I should call it. Those Arbiter missiles are brutal. If you stand your units around too long, it can just brutalize anything that's standing still. Especially if you get a couple of pinpointers, it can really make those a potent option for dealing with any of those static emplacements for sure, but also slower units, sumos, mammoths, anything like that. Fighters are pulled once again. We're ready to get a little aggressive on the other side of the map. Do we have any anti-air here? Oh, it doesn't look like it. An anti-air truck or 2 would be wonderful. We do have some flat cannons, actually. Okay, yeah, there's a flat cannon up in the air. Flat cannon gonna burst down any of these fighters that they can. Love to see that. Those bombers do try and... oh, they try and bomb the fusion reactor. They don't get it, though. Oh, it looks like they were just barely mistargeted. You know, they're gonna drop some bombs over here, but I just don't think there's the firepower. Oh, so close. What a close bombing run, but it just doesn't manage to connect as hard as I think Pyrotech was hoping for. Loads of shuriken over here as well. Okay. Probably helping clean up this push that was dealt with quite nicely over here by the orange player Narnuk. Surprising that the naval players haven't really gone into startling economies here. T2 is already up and running, though. We do have a battleship coming up right now. I love that Lost Admin is spending the metal. I love that it's being invested somewhere. We're going into tech. We're going into navy. Like, all the metal, all the resources are being pooled around the map. We're not just stagnating them. We're not just using them to go for greedy eco. It's actually being used all over the place, and that's really, really nice to see. And this battleship has got to be concerning for the green player Blobson, who up until now has been comfortable on T1 and now will suddenly be forced well out of the T1 era. That battleship is going to resonate heavily with those troops as it sounds its triple gun Cerberus cannon directly in the face of Blobson's forces. Oh, down they go. 3 shots, 2 units killed. It's pretty efficient if you ask me. Buccaneers coming out as well. Always good, especially if your opponent's going for that huge submarine composition like we've seen already. Nuke is coming up right now. Not quite charged yet, but it is coming up. The commander moving forward. Looks like it was getting a little bit comfortable on the front lines there. Maybe needs to back off just a little ways. Be reminded, hey, you're getting pretty squishy here for the T2 era. So many missile ships here. Yeah, they shuriken are not going to have an effect. Yeah. This is basically all anti-air. I mean, hell, you get enough shuriken together and they'll be able to do something, but they are going to be whittled away here slowly but surely. Yeah, you know, maybe I misjudged. So many shuriken. Shoot me down. I will be replaced by 3 more. Commander right here are going to be sacrificed, yeah. That army trying to move away. Ugh, even the commander death doesn't really clear that army away, though. There's also the res subs here, ready to eat all this up. And you know what? It's that tale as old as time. He who reclaims the metal gets the army. And just like that, we can see the T2 Navy collapsing on top of this entire field here. Shuriken paralyzing the entire production facility as well. Oh, no. Yeah, that's everything going down right here. That submarine is not going to come out. Those shuriken have shut down the entire facility for Blobson. Blobson just failed to scale. And just like that, the left-hand side is completely shut down. I don't know, I got to 1v3 on C for fun and be chilling on T1 and still lose. Indeed you did, my friend. Zariad suffering heavy, well, firepower over here as well. We have T1 mostly, but it'll be more than enough. It's just a whole buttload of destroyers. We have almost 9,000 before they started falling here. Yeah, about 9,000 destroyers over here. Looks like a nuclear bomber connects as well. Massive play right there. Those nuclear bombers are pretty tanky. Ooh, does it get the lab? Oh, just barely didn't get the lab. Oh, it'll bounce. Okay. Interesting. If it had fired its bomb, I think it could have taken out that lab. Those nuclear bombers are not to be trifled with. They can certainly put some crazy Daka downrange. Just like that, the blue team is collapsing on multiple fronts here. That base going up in smoke over here on the right-hand side has got to be so demoralizing. Second time that that's happened. Going to mean that, yeah, the powder blue player actually taps out of the game at this point. Not willing to rebuild one more time. The resign vote is called for Randy's team, as the red team has just done too much damage. I think I agree with it, too. As these naval units push through, they would have been able to barrage the blue players with missiles as well. It would have been a nightmare to deal with. So I absolutely think the red team showed compelling force in this game of beyond all reason. And they're the Marauder to seal the deal and enunciate that overwhelming victory. Love to see that from the red team. Absolutely beautiful game right there. And I sure hope you enjoyed. I will be more than happy to see you in the very next one. So long, folks.